And my fabulous mother is running for a seat in the state senate. As many of you know, I am an only child, which means I have a relationship with my mother that a lot of people don't get to experience. She's seen me through the last 22 years, and watching the kind of human being she is has been a driving force behind most of the things I've chosen to do with my life. I'm a fifth-year biochemistry student at Northeastern University in Boston. My mother has saved her entire life to give me the best education possible and to make sure that I had every opportunity in the world. I recognize how fortunate I am to have parents who are able to help me pay for my college education, as I watch so many of my peers plummet themselves into debt because the alternative is having a less than sustainable salary without a higher education. I'm about to become the first doctor in my family. And I did these things on my own as the first person in my family to study biological sciences. And I was able to do that because I watched my mother make the transition from journalism to government fearlessly with no help from anyone. She is what she is today, a political powerhouse, because she alone made herself that way. She will get in there every day and fight for the people of Maine because to her, that doesn't equate to going above and beyond. That's the standard. It is very clear that there's a gender disparity in both the sciences and in politics. She's taught me to never be afraid of being marked as too loud, too aggressive, or too opinionated simply because I'm a woman, because that conversation would never be had with a man. I am proud for my mother to represent women in positions of authority. I am who I am because my mother is who she is. She is without a shadow of a doubt my role model, the biggest influence in my life, and the best support system someone could ask for. She is the feminist icon we have all been waiting for. She's the woman who will make real change in Augusta. I give you my mother, Crystal Canney.
In Portland, we need to find a better educational system. At the same time, we have to balance that with elderly people who are being taxed out of their homes, and even more people who are finding Portland unaffordable. We are a magnet for those dealing with substance abuse disorder, and the opioid epidemic is destroying lives. At the same time, it's ruining the Bayside community. With substance abuse comes mental health issues which are not being properly addressed. Desperate people are going to go where they can to find the services, and that is Portland. It's time to address this issue at a statewide level with a solid plan. We must find a way to grow our economy and provide a livable wage. What we do here in Portland ripples throughout the state of Maine. We need to work with businesses to help us get there. Thinking otherwise is going to leave our economy in the dust with an aging demographic, and we will continue to struggle. We have seen delay after delay in Augusta during this last session, imperiling some of the very principles that we all hold dear. When the legislature adjourned, it left Medicaid expansion, clean elections, transportation bonds, and more than 100 other bills on the table, and yet they went home. It is a scary time in our politics and our political values in this country. We've watched our children huddle in schools against armed intruders. Our children ask us for protection, and the NRA doubles down with its lobbying effort. I say enough. We have watched white supremacists in Charlottesville and Jackman, Maine try and tear us apart. No more. We have watched healthcare take a beating and Medicaid expansion be put on hold while a log-jammed Maine legislature adjourned. Not acceptable. It's time for political change in Maine and this country. Who you send to office in an elected capacity truly matters. I'm running as an independent because I won't be beholden to the partisans who've helped shape this current situation nationally or locally in Augusta. We need political reform.
Yes.
For me, this is not new. I have been fortunate enough to work for several years on ranked choice voting, and it has been met with success. People are seeing the change that we need. We must once again be able to have conversations with people on both sides of the aisle, and it is not happening. We must talk to all sides about potential common ground and what's best for Maine. These are people we will need if we want to get anything passed in Augusta. We need to find a place where that conversation can be had with people who see a greater good in what they do. This is all truly about public service, and I'm not discouraged despite the hyper-partisanship because I know there is common ground out there to be had. There are tremendous examples, Maine-inspired examples, Senator George Mitchell being one of them. No one thought there could ever be peace in Northern Ireland, and yet he made it happen. Surely, if that can happen, can we not elect a committed group of individuals who can bring change to Augusta? It's going to require work outside of bills and committee hearings. It's going to require relationships. That is time and it's work, and I am committed to building those relationships from an independent perspective to move forward. Enough of I can't talk to you because you're a Republican or a Democrat or an independent. How did we ever let this happen? Because the people who are being elected are deeply entrenched in the partisan machinery. These are people desperate for re-election because they like the status quo. And certain individuals and groups will endorse those people because they too like the status quo. They don't want anything to change, but it must if we want to be successful. I am so very, very grateful at this point in our history that I am an independent. Free to talk to whomever I choose, free to toss around ideas, free from the lobbyists that control some of the partisan leadership in our state house, free to work on behalf of the people of Portland and Maine, and no one else, just you. What I can promise you is that, like everything else I've tried to do and have done in my career, whether it was as a reporter or a staffer for a governor or a U.S. senator, for my clients at 2 different companies, I will give it my all, and you will never have to go to bed at night wondering if someone was on your side today in Augusta. You won't have to wonder if someone was being effective. If you are a member of the business community, I will work with you to help grow the economy. I will also advocate at the same time for good-paying jobs. If you're a member of the LGBTQ community, I will stand with you. My support for you is unwavering. If you are pro-choice, I stand with you. That is a line in the sand for me. If you are a student worried about how you're going to pay for college, I will stand with you and will work towards good legislative solutions. I understand that your entire future is on the line. And finally, to all the women who've spoken up, marched, rallied, and refused to stand down, I say thank you. Thank you for what you've done. To all the women who couldn't speak up for whatever reason, because they couldn't, but live with sexual assault, harassment, or being marginalized in the workplace, which happens a lot, I am with you. If elected, you will have an unwavering ally in Augusta. I will work with you, speak out with you, stand with you at every turn. Thank you.